So
Good.
today I'm in conversation with Martin Uvizl, who is a business strategist and who lives in different countries during different parts of the year. And I'm really excited to be talking to you today, Martin, because I'm fascinated by the lifestyle you've created for yourself, and I want to
Thank
talk
you.
more about that. And I also want to explore with you this whole thing of how moving countries enriches your life. So,
Oh, I'm glad. I didn't know exactly what we're going to talk about, but I have definitely something to say about that.
excellent.
It's
So,
my life. Yeah,
yes, it is your life. So,
good.
is there anything you want to say off the bat that just
Well,
occurs to you?
yeah, first of all, I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, happy to see
And
you too.
this time I'm working in Vienna, Austria. Last time we talked was I was in Morocco. So I'm just very happy to talk with you about this and cover, now that I know exactly the subject, I'm excited about sharing some of my experiences and perspectives.
Yes,
Because I like to help other people above all, and I think it can help give some fresh wind in some people's lives and make it enrich their lives and make it more productive and better for everyone if they adopt similar lifestyle than I have, if they can, which everybody can if they just organize it.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you. And
you're welcome.
so yeah, that's wonderful because you live across three continents, I think. So how do you structure your lifestyle? And I do have a burning question that I want to ask, but let's go with this first. How do you structure everything to
Yeah.
make it work?
Good question. The first most important thing is to structure it around, like the key in my life is I love what I do, the work I do. And I organized it after working in law offices, first in Vienna, then in London, then in Washington, D.C., and being stuck in offices, then in a computer company as a partner, and also manager. I worked in the same office for 10 years, basically. For 10 years, I was stuck in offices, and it's against my nature because I love traveling and meeting people and finding out about other cultures, and I want to explore the whole universe if I can. Right? Like I want to go beyond Earth, hopefully soon. So, but that's my perspective. That's my viewpoint. There's nothing more enriching and beautiful than meeting people from different cultures and other perspectives, and uh, yeah, and living and communicating. So that's a passion I have. So I structured my work after being in an office for 10 years. I structured it in such a way to be able to work everywhere. I was like, it was my dream while sitting in the office with computer programmers that one day I can sit in a cafe in Vienna like here and do my work there, which I'm doing this afternoon. And as long as I want, when I want, I have that freedom. That freedom was important for me. It's the way I am. Already as a child, I drove my mom crazy by when I was 4 years old. I left the apartment to travel around. At 7, I took a train to the end of the train station of that train. And so traveling was part of my nature and exploring and being an adventurer. So I structured my work in a way I can do this. That's the first, the most important thing. And it's pretty easy these days to actually change. You don't have to be stuck in an office anymore. It's if you want, if it gives you safety, and usually it is because it gives you security, safety, and stuff like that. And
Mm,
part of part of my journey was that I decided with about 20 that I will not have a life of safety. That I'd rather have a life of adventure than a life of safety. I had the choice. I had a big choice because my parents were wealthy and I could have taken over the fashion shops and stay where I am and live in that place in safety and comfort the rest of my life. And it was a nightmare for me, that idea that I couldn't build up my own life, that I couldn't have adventure like I read in the novels and adventure books and the films. I didn't want a life that's different than that. I wanted to really be like Marco Polo, or, I wanted to live and adventure and find out about things so that at the end of this life, I'm proud of what I did and happy. And I look back at all the things I take with me, the experiences, because I won't take anything else with me. So I make a strong decision and I left Vienna at the time, funny, I'm back in the city right now. I left Vienna to embark on this adventure, and it caused a lot of ripples. It was like, it's not easy. So I can tell you the reason people don't do it is because it's difficult. Once you're in a system with your family, with the friends, you wouldn't think it. Now it's almost like, why was it so difficult? But it's like almost impossible for you, like the heart and all the connections you have and the people you make upset, including the family especially. So it was a big jump, but it was easy for me because I loved sports with adventure. I was a ski racer, I was a surfer. So the sport gave me the certainty already that I can't live without courage. Courage and my life go hand in hand. And if I give in to fear or comfort, I lose my own heart, my soul. So I did the jump and went to America at the time. And I was very excited. For me, you have to understand, I lived in so much comfort that it was exciting for me to have no money at the time. Like, because I left everything and I felt so free. So that showed me something already, because I was always with rich people. They go to Monte Carlo, to Ibiza, to Kitzbühel, whatever. They go to certain places and they hang out with each other, and they all seem so beautiful, but really a little bit imprisoned in most cases. And it affects the mind. And I didn't want to be like them. So it was so freeing to me to suddenly be in America, and I ended up landing in Hawaii. This is before, because I later on had a job in a law firm that was waiting for me. So it wasn't quite that without net, because I had organized it after studying law. But for a while, I had to make my way, and I wanted that. And, that adventure of being somewhere with nothing, being able to make my way. And I made it. I ended up going on the beach and becoming a windsurf teacher and earning $200 a day. It started so I could show myself I can do what my dad did, for example, too, which is build up my own thing, my own life, that's where I started to be a real entrepreneur. Because before that, I was just a spoiled student, lucky guy that had everything. So now I started the path of creating my own life and being an entrepreneur. That's the short version. There's much more to it, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it gives you an insight.
Yeah. So I wondered whether, the moving countries had come first in your life and then that created the inspiration, or whether something happened in your life and you were inspired, and then moving countries has become the trend for you, the trend you've created. So you have kind of essentially answered that and highlighted it. But is there anything more you want to say about that?
Yeah, I can tell you more. I mean, it takes to start it like I did and to leave everything behind. I was even in the cover of the major Austrian newspaper at the time, on the cover of it, that I left. A young, intelligent man, one of the best students, blah, 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 blah. I was in a French school. I was in all this. Everybody knew me. And not due to my own doing, but because of my family and stuff.
Yeah.
So it took a lot. So it's a mixture between, really what came first was in my mind. It was the way I grew up in the middle, seeing the people, the rich people with their yachts. And I was we would fly from Vienna to Portofino and go on a yacht and sit there, and everybody would be like, wow. And I was like, it's more exciting on the other side. And I was right. The most important thing in life is courage, and the willingness to communicate, the willingness to fight, to look. Because when you're courageous enough to really look without fear, magic happens in life. That's all it is. Because the rest of the people I saw, and I know that for sure already then, they're imprisoned by their own fears and systems, and not being willing to step out of what they didn't really choose themselves. So it has to do with my education, where I hooked up with some authors and adventure books, and where I saw how important it is to go your own path in life, and how freedom is something real that you can get, not with money, but with the willingness to go your own path. Like, there's this path you see, and it's more important than what everybody else says, what the safety. And when you go that, oh my God, your life becomes like a movie, like a book. And that's what it is ever since. Like, I tell some people some of my stories, and it sounds like I lived 5 lives and half of it is invented. I really have to hold back sometimes. I can speak for hours and hours. All the stories I have, oh my God, funny, adventurous, like from being robbed and surviving that in a funny way, to all kinds of stuff. And you probably know, because I think you're a similar person that's willing to communicate and willing to experience, and you see how things happen suddenly in life when you go out there and you're willing to experience it. And then you see the magic of it, because at the right moment, somebody comes and helps you. And you see how the goodness in people too.
Mm.
And how when you're good and you stay good, the good will always come to you, even if bad things happen. So you
Yes.
don't have to fear, and that's freedom. Yeah,
Yeah. And
in simple words.
yes, absolutely. And how did it go down with your family? You forsaking everything and, taking the courageous path rather than the comfortable one.
It was difficult because I loved my mom, I loved my grandmother, and they were crying. I even feel the grief right now when I think of it. You know, they were crying. It was difficult to leave them, but I had to. It's like
Mm.
I'm either going to be a little boy for the rest of my life, or I'm going to be the courageous man that I want to be. And it's difficult. I had to. My father was kind of cool. He was like, I know you will make it, and he could understand me because he came from nothing and made it big, and he was a courageous guy too. But for my mom, I was always the most like the how do you say that the golden boy. My mom would take me to places never did. I want my kid to be like him, or I want my daughter to marry him. That kind of stuff. I was this thing that was connected, making her life really beautiful too. Plus, she really loved me. So it's difficult to just say I'm leaving. I'm going my own way. So it was very very difficult. But
Mm.
it took that. I knew it will take to go no matter what. I made a big choice and I couldn't go back. I was committed.
Mm.
And I knew I would fix it, which I did. You know, I knew everybody would get over it, but it had to be this way. You cannot sacrifice my path for feelings of other people. I had to go the path and then fix it.
Yes.
Yeah, which I did.
Yes.
Yeah. But I can see that when I talk about it now, I can see that that's a big reason, especially in a country like Austria, where families are very strong and beautiful, and it's part of it makes it beautiful because everything stays the same and stable because of the strong family structure. How it is rough for people to leave that.
Mm.
It's very difficult because the heart is connected. So that was
Absolutely.
probably the most difficult thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
But I immediately called every week, and so I was able to fix it immediately.
Yes.
But there was still that grief. I could feel it.
Yes.
Like my mom, when she talks about it now, she starts crying. So it's difficult.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a painful wrench at the time.
I mean, my mom's still sometimes like, you should have stayed here as a lawyer. you know, but she can't really say anything. I have a beautiful baby now. She gets to see the baby. So she's totally happy. That, I, anyway, it's all good now.
Mm.
No, I didn't get the baby to make her happy, but it makes everything complete.
Mm.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's now fixed, I can say.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Even if it took a different pattern and different time frame, different way than what
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
expecting.
Yeah, and it was also more difficult than I would think. And that grief of my grandmother and my mother, it stayed there for longer than I expected,
Mm.
you know. That disappointment that I didn't stay right there after they
Mm.
take care of me for so long. So I can understand that fully. But I had to deal with that and address it. But it's fixed. You can fix anything in life,
Yes.
you know,
And it's
including making other people happy again.
absolutely. And it's interesting
Yeah.
when we go to different countries to pursue and find out about other cultures, because we actually come up against our own cultures. You're clarifying it here by talking about the long grief for your mum in particular, because
Yeah.
she's of her Austrian culture and then had expectations, and then you
Yeah,
fly
it's a
in the
complete
face of
different
that.
system.
Yes.
But I couldn't live. I was in a French international school. I was already different.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I already told my grandmother, like she grew up in conservative Austria, um, and they had all these expectations, ideas. Your life is like in tracks, and you're supposed to follow those, and everything is good, and it's a good system because it stays the same. But I couldn't. I hated that system because I need courage. I need danger and risk, and it makes life rich. So I didn't want that life.
Mm.
But for them, it was difficult. But anyway, like I would tell my grandmother already with 15, Grandma, I'm not going to marry one of those Austrians. I'm going to marry a Jewish black girl. Anyway, just for fun, because the Austrians they have a history. So I was pressing those buttons because I was going to be completely free and different. Anyway, I didn't
And
end up doing that, but I was
right,
saying that. Yeah.
right, very good.
Yeah.
I was about to say,
Well, my wife is from Morocco, so
I was about to
my
say,
wife
did
is from
you,
Morocco, so it's
yeah.
African. Yeah, Jew
Yeah,
Muslim, not Jew. It's the same.
yeah. So
It's
you still
similarly. It
rebel.
wouldn't be something. Yeah, it wouldn't be something they expect or so tolerant towards. But it's okay. Everybody loves
Mm,
her. It's
mm,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
And how did the Morocco piece come about? Did that come about through meeting
But
your
anything,
wife or?
I'll tell you that in a second. That's an interesting story, which I'll tell you in a second. But I want to tell you right away, this thing of, I just realized this thing, this willingness to step beyond the boundaries, step on the toes of people and totally question the whole system and make them be upset to you, you know, this is actually very important to be willing to do that when you work in sales or when you want to expand a company. You have to be that way. If you really want to be successful, you have to be that way. If you want to be an employee, like this culture here puts on the pedestal as the thing to be. Like, oh yeah, like my sister, she wanted to work in L'Oreal, or people here wanted to work in Red Bull. It's not, the dream is not to be an entrepreneur. So it's very different here. So in order, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to totally dismiss these systems, because you're going to get in situations as an entrepreneur where you have to do that all the time and be willing to stay courageous and focused. So it was good for me to do all that.
Mm,
Also, for many reasons, as an entrepreneur as well.
mm,
I just wanted to interject that. I just realized why I'm more successful than others, because when you have that courage, nothing can stop you in
mm,
business.
yeah,
Nothing can stop you, because you can handle anything as long as you stick with it.
yes.
You know, and that underlying that was my ski racing and stuff. I already knew that, like, when it starts to be dangerous, the only thing you can do wrong is to stop looking at your destination, start looking at what could happen, and then it happens. So you have to stay focused and courageous. Anyway, just on the side.
Oh
But
no, but
I can come back to,
I
yeah,
will
yeah,
I will come back to that point, but let's stay on this point for a minute
Morocco.
because no, we'll come back to Morocco, but let's stay on this point for a
Okay,
minute
good.
because
Yeah, as you
yeah,
wish.
you're opening up something, yeah,
I'm
really.
freestyling this.
Yes,
Yeah,
we are totally freestyling.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because one of the things that is really interesting in what you're saying about being an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur is by default definition someone who is not conventional. So how much did
yeah.
the moving countries facilitate you becoming that entrepreneur and becoming a business strategist? Did it all kind of really
It
pave
complements
the
it.
way?
It
Yeah.
acknowledged what I knew.
Mm,
Because once you step in this other world, there's this freedom. You're not bound by any system. You're always completely with a fresh perspective, and nobody's going to stop you from what you want to achieve,
mm,
because you're not. The only thing that can stop you in life from achieving what you want is your own thoughts
yes.
of I can't do it, because every one of us has the potential to do anything they want. Okay, there's some limits. Okay, fine. No, actually, I shouldn't even say that, because the motto of my life is nothing is impossible, and I'll stay true to that. Okay. So that was just, where did I get that idea from? We have to backtrack later and look where I got that idea that something is not possible. No, nothing is impossible. So this freedom of being in a new place and looking at it all freshly without influence of other people, like your parents, or what your parents and can do, can and 20, I confirmed what I wanted always, and I refreshed it. I kept it. I kept that beauty of that experience as something I want to keep experiencing, because you always meet new people, new perspectives. You have like 10 lives and you become that much richer in your perspectives.
Mm,
And I wanted to, like, above everything, I wanted in life to be able to understand everything and everyone. I figured at the end of my life, what I take with me, the richness, the only richness there is understanding and your experiences.
yes.
So I wanted that.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure all of your experiences feed into how effective you are as a business strategist. Um, and
Yes.
and do you think it stems from the experience of meeting and knowing people? And from this kind of the skill to communicate with anyone.
Yeah, like when I walk in a place and I help them with their sales, for example, I can go in there and I go with the same perspective of, like, there's nothing in my mind that stops me. I make sure that I like what I sell. I'm convinced, like I'm convinced of my path. It's part of my life. And I embrace it, just like I embrace my life fully. Not, I don't do it because somebody else says I should do it, or because my mom told me that's something good. I do it because my heart, my intuition tells me this is good. So I operate that way in life, or in everything I do, including when I met my wife, for example. So it became intrinsically what I got out of this stepping out and beyond the grief that I caused and going with that courage is that there's something called your intuition. There's a path that you have. If you're courageous enough to walk it, it's beautiful and successful, always. Always, always, always. You can only stop yourself when you start to be careful. When you say, like I almost said it before, oh, something is not possible. No, 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 no. When you think that, you will not make it. But I had no back off. And so that's why I go in these things when I meet the right person. I can look in a room and I already know, like, anyway, I already know this person is perfect for this person is perfect. And I go with my heart and my intuition and say, you need to do this. It's going to change your life. And boom, boom. And that's how I operate in life. Because of that, you see, I left the thing. And this goes back to when I was ski racing. I learned then, and surfing. I learned then already there is a higher level than thinking. There's a level of knowing. That's what I call it. You can call it intuition, knowingness. It's different names in different religions and history and places. But it's this thing of knowing. Like Yoda said in the movie Star Wars, no, don't think. There's truth to it. Or like in Top Gun, Tom Cruise said, no, don't think. And it's true. So when you're courageous, when you live courageously and you just go with, you have actually a power that I discovered of knowing, of intuition, that is incredible. And when you stay true to that and you don't compromise because of what other people tell you and all that stuff, you can go like, I'll tell you, to explain it to you more clearly. One time I lost a ring that somebody gave me. That's before. And it was a catastrophe that I lost that ring. This is a very personal story, but it's okay. I'm freestyling it. I'm telling you everything. So I stood at the edge of a pool, and I somewhere in this pool at night in Florida, I lost that ring, and it would be a catastrophe. The person that gave it to me would be so upset. I had to find that ring. You will understand in a second how that relates to pieces and all my path and all that stuff. So I was like, I have to find it. And a voice in me said, no, you can't. And no, you're stupid. All that's like what happens in life. Think about it, It's irrational. How can you, it's dark, the pool is 3 meters deep, and the ring could be anywhere while you're swimming. How can you find it? And you still say, no, I'm going to find it. I know I have the power to find it with my intuition. So I jumped with my eyes closed, the deepest part of the pool, went down where it hurt my ears even. I went that deep, and the voice comes back, you're stupid. It doesn't work. You can't find that ring. And then I went all the way to the bottom, put my fingers like this on the ground, and I felt nothing. And the voice said, see, I was right. You're stupid. And I said, no, fuck you. So, excuse my English. I said, no, that's too long in America. And I closed my fingers and I had the ring with closed eyes. Okay. So that is a story that confirmed for me how you can live in life without looking, without thinking. You just go. I mean, you're still looking. Thinking is good. You don't have to stop thinking, but you can use it as tools like you use a computer. But there's something above that called your intuition, and stay true to it. And that's what this whole breaking out of the system of where everybody says you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, stay smart, you have all this money there, you should stay. Breaking out of that with the courage and the intuition gave me a free life where I just follow that. Because in the end, I think at the end, like if something happens and the body dies, I will still be there with that intuition and that courage. And that's how I wish that to everybody, to be honest. So anyway, we're beyond to my heart right now, but that's what the traveling and all that has to do with that.
Yeah.
So it's a courage. It takes courage, and you gotta live with the courage. And when you go a courageous way in life, and you go to new places, you get new perspectives, and you will not only be stronger because you're more courageous, but also because you understand people better. Anyway, it has many benefits. I can talk about it more in a business way.
It's very valuable in a business way because, when I think if you're sent as an employee to a new country, there is the structure that you referred to in the beginning. It's kind of handed to you, even though challenges will still come within that structure. But when you go independently to a new country, you're the one who's having to generate some structure or find, so I think it's really valuable that you're sharing what you're sharing.
Yeah, I can tell you that because I go to Dubai, for example, and I did something that people thought impossible. I closed every single person for a certain thing. It was a sales, so I had to sell something because I really cared for the people, understood the people, understood their system immediately, understood what they were in, and all. And you get very successful because you understand people and you understand how this all works. So anyway, yeah.
Okay.
So what you say is true. It is very advantageous because in selling you have to understand the other perspective. And if you have a clean heart and you do this because you're courageous, you don't, because the people who have problem with sales is usually people who don't really believe in what they do and they end up lying to themselves and others. No chance. So this all goes hand in hand, this living courageously, living, understanding people. So when you travel, you get you start to understand every culture. I think I can speak with Muslims, with Catholics, and I love all of them with my heart. And then you become successful because in the end, it's just people interacting with each other, and if you find a way to help them, because you make money when you solve problems, and you will solve problems. That's what money is: solving problems. The bigger the problem you solve, the bigger more money you make. And the more you love people and understand people in all cultures, the more you will be able to build an international company and adapt it to the different markets and be successful. So I'm willing to go really personal like I did because it's important beyond all the facade of the marketing and all the stuff behind that is basics of solving problems of people. And then you make money and you keep making money if you do that with your heart. And you will keep making money. You will build and build and build because you don't lie to yourself and others.
And you can keep solving problems.
That's right. And then after a while, you love doing that. You discover that's the most beautiful thing in life, solving problems of people. And you will choose. You will not do something stupid, like sell a stupid product that you know that doesn't really help them. So you become really, you live life with honesty and happiness. And the more happy is, the more money you make as well. So it goes, not everybody. You get to a level where some people are tricky and they make a lot of money, but it doesn't stay.
Yes.
Or they don't stay.
Yes. And so now let's move to the Morocco story then. So how did Morocco come about? Did you meet your wife and then end up in Morocco, or some other way?
No, another way. No, it's a adventure. Again, it's its own story. But what it was, I was in Singapore when Corona was starting at the time, and I was rebelling against that already. I was like, I'm not going to wear a mask. Anyway, so I was a rebel. I loved the interaction, the hugging. So Corona had just started, and there were people in Singapore, and I was like, no, I'm going to hug everybody. And it's all good. And I never got Corona, just so you know. But I just love the interaction so much. I understand if somebody wears a mask, so no problem. In case somebody listens, wore a mask, totally cool, fully understand it. But I love people so much. I didn't at the time wear a mask. I just hugged everybody. So that was at the beginning where there was no duty yet to wear a mask or anything. But the Asian people love already doing that. They, by nature, somehow, or their history, they quickly wear a mask. So anyway, so this was the time. I was in Singapore. So then I was going to go to Dubai for business. And I figured this will happen. I heard the rumors of lockdowns and like this idea of locking down place. I was like, okay, where do I want to? I was planning it. If I get locked down, where do I want to get locked down? And I decided I'm going to book it via Morocco, my route to Dubai, because it looked like very soon it will happen. And the one place I want to get stuck in is Morocco because I love surfing and kite surfing. And I had friends there, and I knew I will live well through a lockdown if I go there. Okay, so that's how it started. So then this guy's trying to get money, which it's okay. Anyway, so I landed in Casablanca on my flight to Dubai, and which was and there were only 2 people in the flight. People already started to stay where they are because they were different like me. They had their family, their work, they had to. So it was a ghost flight. And when I arrived at the airport, they said, "Welcome to Morocco. This was the last flight, and you're welcome. You're gonna stay here. We're locked down." So that's how I got to Morocco. So then I was in Casablanca, and I was very happy. I was like, "Good, all goes as planned. What an adventure!" You know, that's how I am. And I could do all my work already on my laptop. I already had figured my life to work from anywhere.
Mm.
So I was in Casablanca in a cafe, and then they said, the coffee shops are closing starting tomorrow because we have to be safe from the virus. So I was like, oh no, safety is not my way of life. I have to leave the city. So I went to Marrakesh. You see, I flee this stuff. It's like something in me, the freedom fighter. So then in Marrakesh, it was good for a day. Then even there, I was so disappointed. I was like, I thought this is different, but they do everything that France does too. Okay. So I was like, okay. So I left Marrakesh when they started to close the cafe. I went to Agadir, which is even more south. And there they stayed open for a week. I was like, good. And then when I heard that they will close there, I called a friend of mine who has a hotel in the Sahara, near the ocean. So it's Sahara at the ocean. So it's beautiful, not just Sahara. It's Sahara, Sahara would be even more adventure just in the Sahara. But it was the Sahara at the ocean. They had a hotel there. And I said, yeah, he said, hurry because there's one more flight. They're closing the airport. But here there's no corona, no mask, nothing to come. So I went there and I did my lockdown in an area where there was no mask, no nothing. I could surf and run and do my work. So it was perfect. But after a while, I missed cafe. So I went back to Agadir. And I'll try to give a short version of the story. But that's where I ended up meeting my wife by coincidence. And, there was being from America, like, because I live in Los Angeles mainly at the time. A lot of girls always wanted to be with me, and it was very like I was the only tourist basically. Everybody went back home, so I was in a protective state. Like I'm not interested in all this stuff. I want to stay focused, and I didn't really plan all this, so this was not a plan. But when I saw her and I saw her eyes and her smile, the plan changed. And then I ended up marrying her. I had to talk to her father. She came from a traditional family. So that was all part. I was like, that sounds like me. That's the adventure. Because I read adventure. We have adventure books about people from the Western world going to this world and ending up in all kinds of adventures. And I did. And then meeting the beautiful girl, which I did. And then so I asked her father and I married her and we have a baby. So it's beautiful. So that's how it all happened. And she's with me. She stayed one more week in Morocco. But tomorrow she comes with the baby. So she'll be with me tomorrow.
That's lovely.
Yeah. And then we're going to go to the US. Yeah.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah.
So do you literally split your year across these three countries? Vienna, Austria, America, and Morocco.
Well, the way I live, I mean, it was even more crazy before. I would be half the year in Tarifa for kite surfing because I work a lot. I work hard, right? And something that I learned since I was a teenager, another part of me, is that I have to do sports. If I'm going to sit at a laptop for 8 hours a day, I have to do something of at least 2 hours where I do totally the opposite of looking at a screen like I do right now. Like be out there. Don't think, keep that ability of my intuition, that skill. And so I like extreme sports like surfing and kite surfing where you fly up in the air, where you have to operate and use that power that you have of intuition that every one of us has, but forgets. A lot of people forget it because they become lazy. Everything is being done for them. Life is being run for them. They don't have to use it anymore. But I like to keep it fresh with sports. So I basically at the time already oriented my life towards the sports. I could always do the sport into places where there was wind. So I followed the wind at that time. Now it's different. Now I have a baby and a wife. So now I'm very lucky that I can go to Morocco and I can go a lot surfing even if I have a baby because the mother of my wife, loves the baby. She helps us. So I go a lot to Morocco, and plus the waves are very good for surfing in the winter. So I spent the whole time there. Now it's beautiful in Vienna. I have my family here, so I'm here, and I'm always in Los Angeles because I have a company there, and I work. That's why I'm actually residing. So it's every few weeks I go to Los Angeles. So I'm like where the business and the sports take me, and now my baby. So I hope I design it in the best way to keep everything happy and good. And somehow I'm surprised myself how good it's working because people told me, oh, your life will totally change when you have a baby. And I was like, immediately don't agree with it. nothing is impossible. You can have keep an amazing, adventurous life even with a baby, and I'm doing it. I have the most beautiful, amazing baby. It smiles all day and all night and is happy. My wife, the happiest me. It's working. You just
Mm,
have to go, not listen too much to what is supposed to be,
mm.
because you can design your life. And anyway, it's all part of
Absolutely.
this power that we have. Yeah,
It's really good to hear someone illustrate how achievable it is, because
yeah,
and it's inspiring because you know you talked about what was the word you used? Courage. You talked about being
yeah.
courageous, and then you also said that, and that begins with C. And you also said three other words: to avoid, in effect, to avoid being too careful, to avoid compromising to yourself, and to avoid, what was the other thing you said? There's something else.
Much comfort, maybe.
Comfort,
Yeah,
comfort, exactly, and
yeah,
avoiding
yeah,
comfort.
yeah,
And it's really useful to just hear it like that, because it's very
yeah.
easy to even ask ourselves, am I why am I doing this? Am I getting comfortable? Am I, and everything in your life, I share a lot of traits that you say, but I have played the one where I differ from you and which is beginning to change, is where I play safe in what I call safe. Yeah.
No,
And
if I won't say, but I worked with you on something, and I saw that, and I wanted you to change that, and I think it helped to get you on the path to that. That's what
exactly.
would make, and I'm happy for that. It gives me goosebumps. It makes me happy because life opens when you're courageous and you go out of
Yeah,
the comfort. The problem is
exactly.
a lot of people tell you the opposite, but it's not the way. It seems the way, but it's a dangerous world. You can't be safe, even if you have the illusion of being. You might as well live dangerously because it's dangerous.
Yes.
You might as well be more dangerous than life
Yes.
yourself. So you got to be courageous. It's the only
Yes.
solution, and then it becomes fun. Then
Yes.
life says, "Okay, I got you. You're stronger." You
Yes.
know? Like an example is like, look, like to show you how why I just realized it myself why I could even stay such a good lifestyle with a baby. It's 7 months, 8 months now. But after 18 days, I immediately made sure he had a passport, right? Because I know who knows what will happen. I might have to travel. We have to go somewhere. But everybody told me, my family, everyone, my mom, like, the baby has to be certain months old because you can get this and that and that. I was like, no, my baby's going to be a surfer. No, I'm just kidding. I won't force anything on him. But that was in my mind. He's going to travel whenever. He's courageous. He's cool. I'm going to make sure. And with 18 days, he flew and there was no problem. But it was, again, not listening to the voices of be careful, be comfortable,
Mm,
because I could have stayed in Vienna comfortable, wouldn't have been, but no, I went to Morocco and I'm so happy for it,
mm,
you know. So you're right with everything you're saying. I just realized it stays with me and makes life exciting.
mm.
Life every day, and I wanted that. I wanted my life to be true adventure, and I was like, what's the key to what's the difference between the life where people complain and they say it sucks and they're like complain about other people, and the life where somebody says, wakes up in the morning like I do and go, wow, what a beautiful day. I'm going to fill it with adventure and good things and help people. And then at night when I go to sleep, I look at the stars. I still see the stars. In the morning, I still hear the birds. And at night, I see the stars. I go, what a beautiful life. What's the difference between that life and that other life? Is courage and
Mm,
being willing to be uncomfortable.
mm.
Because in the end, let's face it, when this body dies, when whatever happens, whatever your belief is, you're not going to have anything to be comfortable. You're just going to
No,
have you. And the more courageous you live, the more ready you are
yes,
to keep going.
yes,
You know?
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. There's a lot of, it's difficult almost to talk about this in a rational way because there's so much
At
connected
play.
metaphysics, philosophy. So I'm jumping around, but it's beautiful to talk to you.
Mm,
Because it's at one time where I don't have to stick with business and sound smart and just use my mind. I'm actually enjoying it very much to freestyle with my intuition with you.
yes.
And it's funny how it brings me back to what made me happy when I worked with you to get you to, I saw that and I see it with you to step over that. And I almost, we, we repeat it a bit. I have to keep it in mind, stay courageous, stay uncomfortable. Life is
Mm,
amazing then, because there is a side of life where that, is not fully understandable with with reason. There is magic. There is something that where things happen, where you meet things at the right time that can't be explained with reason.
Yes.
And when you live courageously, there's an author, a German author, Goethe. He said, and other people attribute this quote is attributed, is paraphrased in different ways to other people as well. But it's this thing: boldness has genius and to it, and when you're bold, magic starts to come. Anyway, it's quoted in a much more better way, but it's this relationship between boldness, courage, and a magic, beautiful life.
Absolutely. And I also hear that by not, especially COVID, because we were all kind of asked to conform, almost dictated.
Yeah. I was just going to say that before.
And
you actually, it was actually you.
Yeah, you went a whole different direction, and you wouldn't have met your wife if you hadn't have. So I'm just realizing the beauty and the magic is in the. I mean, obviously we can't break laws. I'm not talking about that, but in staying true to yourself and staying true to what matters, and if adventure matters.
I didn't have to break any law because I went to a place following my intuition where there was no corona. There was no such thing. We had parties at night, parties. I mean, it was beautiful celebrations with Moroccan music and with the stars. And there was life. This was like this, what I imagined of life continued because I stayed true to my intuition. So you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And there was a thing of pushing you, and I observed it, and I was like, oh my God, I don't want to go back in this world. And literally was at a point where I was like, I'm staying in the Sahara. I'm not made for this. Stay home. Stay afraid.
No,
this is the opposite of my life.
Yes.
And so took a decision after a while because I had a way of just staying. I had enough money. I could just stay there with my wife and stay in. I even told her, like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to have a Facebook anymore. I don't want to all this stuff. We just live a beautiful life. And then I was like, no, that's not going to work. I have to help people. I have to go back to my family. So I decided to go totally attack it, go back and help the people that are enslaved by their own thoughts and the wrong information. Not wrong information. Yeah, wrong information of how you have to stay safe too. Because it's like I said to my, I never had corona, even when I went to Vienna where everybody had corona around me that was vaccinated. Maybe it is like a lion that this virus is like a lion that knows when you have fear, it comes and gets you first. Maybe that's to do with that. And I thought, I think so, but I don't want to be unscientific because there's such value to vaccinations that are tested. And there's such value to medicine that I grew up with that in my school. So I know the other side that you have to use your mind as well. You can't just go crazy and say, yeah, nothing's going to happen to me because I'm courageous. Anyway, you still have to use the reason as well, the mind as well a little bit. Just to make sure that while I live a courageous life, I also try to use the reason and enrich my reason, my mind with understanding of how it all works, and try to even understand the higher levels, with physics, wavelength, try to reach an understanding of that because I believe everything can be understood as well.
Yeah, it's about
with reason.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's about how you're applying the information. You can apply the information and limit yourself, or you can apply the information and keep growing and expanding as a human being. So, and in doing Corona, one thing that happened because I came back like from another world. I come back and I got into an argument with my sister, and I realized it's like suddenly what was taught to me in school was suddenly something bad. Like I was taught science is something where you question things and where you say, everybody says the earth, the sun is going around the earth and the earth is used to say that, right? But somebody stepped ahead and said, no, it's different, and founded astronomy with science. So it used to be a good thing to question things and to say it's not, what you say is not true. And now suddenly you couldn't say that in the Corona time, certain things. You were seen as something bad when you questioned what they said, what the government said, or what because I said, I don't know if I want, like I just said, I don't know if I'm gonna get vaccinated. I just don't know if it was tested long enough. And I was like, oh my God.
But that was used to be a good way of thinking, you know, because I wasn't like vaccines are bad, but I was like, no, vaccines are good, but you got to test them. Science shows you have to test them a while to make sure it works with everybody. I understand. I knew about DNA and all that stuff, and the immune system. So anyway, it's an interesting world I got back into, but I decided to go fully back in it. And I was like, I started Facebook again and all this stuff like that. And I decided to go into AI because I was like, I either going to go back into the Sahara and totally isolate, but that's not what I'm going to be good for. I have a mission in life. So I went fully in it, learning about everything so I can help people while learning about all this technology that has the power of doing bad things, but I'm going to take responsibility and make the world stay good, like in the Sahara, like where the magic and science can exist together.
Yeah,
peace can be there, and, even though there's suddenly all this fighting and all this left and right and vaccination, anti-vax. I was like, no, there is a way we can still all love each other and happy and understand. So I went back fully in that world and I'm happy for it because I got to meet people like you. I was even like, I'm not going to do Zoom and all that stuff. I want live events. I'm waiting. I'm staying in this Sahara until there's no more new normal. But now I love, as you know, I met you in a Zoom event. So it's beautiful. It works. You just gotta stay courageous.
Yeah. I love the fact that you're talking about how we can move with what's happening and embrace what's happening, like AI and everything else, and then use it for the good. Anything that's a development can be used or manipulated for the bad, but then being a service, you can take it and use it for the betterment of. And so it's very good that you did come out of the Sahara.
Yeah, I was so happy there. I did look. It was such a beautiful place. You saw more stars than I ever saw. You don't even see them in these parts of the world. It's so beautiful. I woke up with the sunrise over the Sahara. It was just amazing. But life is more than just watching a beautiful sunset and the sunrise. Life is about helping people. And I was like, this world needs me more than ever. Needs us, and people like you. And when I talked to you when I first met you, I told you that the world needs us more than ever. The people who are who have that understanding, higher understanding and heart, and really love people and love helping. And the world needs us more than ever. So that we keep all these technologies aligned with us, because now they talk about AI being dangerous. If it's fed the wrong data by the wrong people, it can cause a lot. So we need to be in there. Even though I don't like the world and sitting on the computer. I'd rather be talking with the people that sit here. With you, and I would rather fly. I don't know where you are right now, but when you were in London, I would have flown to London and do the interview like this in person. But it's beautiful. It's all good. Technology, amazing. It brings us closer. So I learned a lot from that too.
Yes. Yeah.
I was surprised at myself, the unwillingness to go back, even though I had courage, the unwillingness to go back in this world that suddenly said everybody to stay home and stay safe. I wasn't even willing to. Even though I was surprised because I love people so much, and I had the unwillingness to connect back with them. But it was good. I did, and I'm so happy for it. And all straightening it out beautifully.
And you've touched on something interesting there, because although Zoom and AI and all these things make it so possible for us to connect, nothing beats the actual in-person element of everything. And so you're continuing to move countries, you're continuing to change location, is obviously really important, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. But I want, just while we're at that, so that's true. We come back to that. But I just want to tell you, while I was in Morocco, in the Sahara and stuff, I said, you know what? I'm going to show myself. I canceled all my Instagram, all my Facebook, because I couldn't stand how I saw how the minds were influenced there, and you couldn't talk about something. I was like, I'm not participating in that. That's not a free world anymore. I don't like it. I'm out. So, and I'm going to show myself that I can work with intuition, even here, even from here. And you know what? I found the richest man of Africa in the Sahara. He happens to be there. I built a hotel, did business with him, made more money than ever before without Facebook, in person in the Sahara. Then I went to Agadir, I found a guy, a multi-millionaire from America who also came there by coincidence at a cafe. Again, they made more money than ever before. So I proved to myself that I can do it without all these tools where you're supposed to get likes to live, you know, because it's like not, it's like prostitution. You have to do something to, like prostituting yourself. Like you have to get likes to make it. No, I don't care if I'm liked or not. I'm honest. You like me, I'm happy, but I don't need to be liked.
Mm.
You know, it's this thing. Anyway, so I showed to myself that there's always this thing, this human, the heart, the intuition will always be senior to all the technology.
Oh yes,
Okay,
completely. Yeah. And I think
so
you've just illustrated my point, because my point was
yeah,
that
that's what.
you're not going to stay on Zoom and hide behind a camera or a screen. You could do your business internationally that way, but you choose to keep moving, to be where you need to be at the time you need to be it, to
It's
facilitate.
very funny. Yeah, it's very funny because at the time it was hard. I stopped all my Facebook. I I lost the phone thing. But anyway, we were on a boat to find a good surf place, and my phone fell in. I had a beautiful phone, so I bought myself in the Sahara in a shop there. They had a couple of phones in a little city, of course, like 10 years old, and I was like, you know what, that's good. I like that. So I had a bad phone even when I came then back, started to have a bad, and now I decided no. So I have the best phone, the best laptop, boom. So I'm going back in it, but knowing still that I don't need it, but I
Mm,
still want to really conquer this technology goal. So now I have with good conscience and certainty, I will conquer that technological world and use it, but never forget what's better, life,
mm.
life and life.
Yeah, live
You
and
know,
live. Exactly. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And what would you say you've kind of, I mean, you've pretty much shared this throughout the conversation, but what would you
Yeah.
say are some of the things you've learned specifically from that you look back on and you're grateful for from constantly moving or being willing to move countries?
Wow. The first thing I already touched upon it was the danger of how when you go in an area without knowing it really, you start to be connected with ideas and ways of living, and you start to be like so connected to them that it's difficult after a while to break out from it. You're stuck. You become stuck whether you want it or not in some ways because you love people and you're connected to their ideas.
Mm,
So I learned the importance of always staying fresh, always always having a fresh perspective and questioning in business the way it's being done. And
mm,
that's invaluable, because okay, everybody does it this way. No, everybody does, like you want a job, you're supposed to go to HR. Okay, question that. Is that really gonna work? No, you have to go to the top. You have to find a way to meet the boss in the parking lot. I'm not saying this is what you have to do, but this is the first lesson that I learned. Keep fresh, keep use the information in a self-determined way. Like get all the information, but don't just take it in and be the slave to it. Like always look at it and evaluate it and stay free. Don't stay home. Anyway,
mm,
just stay free and use it in a free way so you can use all the knowledge you have from all. When you have all this knowledge from different places in different countries, it's almost impossible to get stuck
mm,
because you know how to do it there, they do it differently there, and everybody swears you can only do it this way. You see, so that's the most valuable. In every way, they really swear it can only be done this way. And after you travel throughout the world and all these cultures, no. That's how they did that. That's how they did that. You start to automatically know that it doesn't have to be that way. And you have an advantage that way to the competition. Because, for example, everybody knows that when the economy is bad, um, you're supposed to hold back and spend a little bit less and stuff. No. I've learned by traveling stuff that wants to succeed in the bad times is the best time to expand. The
mm,
bad times are the best times because everybody gives up. I learned that in Morocco, and I saw it everywhere. I see these common things, you know. So that's one thing. So that's invaluable. For example, I learned little things in sales, like in Morocco, while sitting in Casablanca, watching the guys there selling things to survive for the family. How good they are at sales. So I learned about sales more than I learned in books by watching these people that need to sell something today, or they don't bring food for their wife and their children. So anyway, so there's a lot of things you can learn when you go in other cultures, and I saw how nobody can lie to me, a salesman, when he doesn't sell anything. He doesn't sell because he's not persistent enough, because he doesn't have to feed his wife. The life of his wife and children doesn't depend on it. So I know how to handle that. You can handle it by making them excited about it. It doesn't have to be that life or death.
Yes.
It can also be, it's more beautiful when you make him excited and make him able to do it. But you know that the power that everyone has to sell themselves.
Yeah.
And there's not people who can sell and people who cannot. There's just people who are not willing to do it. That's all. Yeah. So anyway, so there's lots of lessons for business that you learn through traveling, and because you see that what they swear is true here in Austria, for example, is completely different in America. It's completely like here they say, and you start to believe that when you live here, you have to end at 5 o'clock working because, oh my God, you have to live. You have to live. And I work all the time, and people say, you're crazy. You hear the time, you're crazy. You work all the time. And yeah, I love it. And when you go to America, I was in Houston last year, and I meet this driver, and he gives me his card. I also have a real estate business. I'm like, well, how many jobs do you do? He says 7. I say, wow. And my Austrian past comes to me. It's like, oh my God, that's a little bit too much. He says, no. I come from Cuba. You can't find any job there. You cannot make money, even if you want. Your family has to die. It's the best thing in the world. Here you can work as much as you want, as many jobs. So by traveling, you learn all these different perspectives, and you question. You don't let yourself get influenced. That's another good example.
It's brilliant. Yeah. Because you see things differently. If you had grown up into your fashion house that was already pre-set for you, life could have been a great life.
I would be home at 5 every day.
But but it would have been a prescribed life, so to speak. And in the same way, the person from Cuba comes over and he would see how his life is in Cuba and only see it that way. It doesn't mean it is that way, but he would only see it that way. Then he comes to another country and he's like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. Oh, I'm now doing 7 jobs. But if it's working for him.
What is a nightmare to other people is the greatest joy for him, that he can work in the morning, he can work something else in the afternoon, he can work as much as he wants. It's freedom for him.
Yeah, it's so a freedom thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, fantastic. It's very, very good to talk to you, and
any other questions you have, I'm
fine. Do I have any other questions?
I mean, we covered all of life, I feel.
I think so.
I don't know if there's anything left, but if you remember something, we can talk again. I'll be happy to expand on some points.
Yeah, thank you.
I have so many stories and so many things. I just touched upon in a very general way and got myself lost in some stuff.
Oh, that's perfect. And do you have a story you'd like to tell that you feel connects with moving countries that you would like to share?
I think the best story right now was just that story of following my intuition and ending up in the Sahara and then finding the love of my life and having the most beautiful baby because I did. And being able to, without, it didn't exist to me, this idea of, for me, even though I love everybody, and I'm so sorry you guys had to stay home. I really felt, I didn't post nothing. I felt so bad. I'm so happy I followed my intuition, and I saw how magic it is when you can forge your own path. It didn't exist for me staying home. It wasn't in my nature. It's impossible. And I don't know what I would have done I probably would have found a way, running or buying a dog and going with the dog, but that's stupid. I mean, I would keep the dog, but I heard in some countries they could go out with the dog. So anyway, but it was so beautiful to follow intuition and be able to live a beautiful life when you do that, no matter what happens in the world.
Yeah.
So that's the most beautiful I want to give to people. When you live courageously, you follow your path without compromising. You don't shy away from discomfort. You don't want to be comfortable. And there was one more scene. I
Yeah.
forgot what the other one. Courage, comfort, the seas, right? When you,
Yeah, the C's, courage, comfort, not
it's
compromise.
okay. You can,
Yeah, and not
yeah,
compromise.
not compromise. Yeah, you can go through it later and write it out and let me know because it's actually
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
How the C is it's vitamin C, courage, vitamin
It is
C of life.
vitamin C,
So
courage. And
yeah.
the
So if you
positive C's that you've mentioned, you've talked about connectedness and you've talked about
yeah,
communication. But
you
they all
got it.
started with
Amazing.
courage. They all started with,
That's right. Yeah.
so
Without courage, none of this other stuff happens.
mm,
Courage is like willing to break out of the prison of your own thought, you
yeah,
know, and living.
yeah.
So that's what I want to with that story. Corona,
Yeah, that's another
COVID,
C.
Corona, the bad C, but shows what how you can live independently, a beautiful life, no matter what happens in the world, and you can care for your family, create what you need to do,
Mm,
create.
yeah,
Anyway, beautiful. The seas are jumping at me now.
yeah,
Anyway,
exactly.
okay,
Yeah.
Claire. Anyway, it was nice talking to you.
It was really good talking to you.
Yeah,
Thank you very, very much for your time and for
you're
sharing your
welcome.
insights and making it so clear that business is possible anywhere you go. Thank you.
Yeah, no matter what crisis comes your way, no matter what catastrophe happens, you can, with courage, and you can forge your own way and take care of your family and live a good life. No matter, you don't have to give in to the fears of what they say because the future looks so bleak right now, you know. And part of my mission is to teach people with the courage they can live independently of that and change that. We can
Mm.
turn all these tempests and darkness into a beautiful light again, like it was before all these clouds came. Clouds. So many things suddenly before all the stuff came. I'm trying to avoid them now. It starts to be funny and stupid. But anyway, you can bring light to life again if you live with courage for us and for everybody else.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very true. And I will take on what you're saying. I'm sure many of the listeners will as well.
Good.
Thank you.
I hope so. I hope I helped them in some way with my funny story.